Okay, so we're back for part 8 of my box 1 of my 45s collection, and we ran into a big chunk of comedy / novelty records here. This is a really great one, Cheech and Chong. It was a non-album single. It actually came out in '75, between their wedding album in '74 and Sleeping Beauty in '76, and they had two 45s that were never on their albums. This one, which both sides were never on the album, and in 1971, Santa Claus and His Old Lady, with the B-side of Dave, which came off of the first album. But anyways, I remember hearing this on Dr. Demento. Ever listen to the Dr. Demento show? You remember Dr. Demento? I was really disappointed he only played part 1. Like, hey, come on. Continuing story here. But that's the B-side, of course, is part 2. And as far as I know, that's never been released on CD. But who knows? Maybe it's out there somewhere. It's funny that the sleeve has Undercover Angel noted on it, which I do have that 45 somewhere. And moving on to the next one here. This is a newer one for sure. I even like the vinyl. It's got really weird, kind of like recycled look to it. And this is Dash Rip Rock, Let's Go Smoke Some Pot, which is a remake At the Hop with different lyrics. And on the B-side to that one, we have If I Hide. Love Dash Rip Rock. Great rockabilly band, if you're into rockabilly. And what's funny, I'm even going to show you this here. I still had the receipt in the sleeve there from when I bought this back in 2013. And moving on, you can't talk about novelty records without throwing out a Weird Al. Eat It, which, you know, with him making fun of Michael Jackson's Beat It, which was one of the songs by Michael Jackson that actually had a brief period that I enjoyed, which was Eddie Van Halen's guitar solo that he did on there. But this is a golden oldie, and it even says it's released February 1984 originally for Eat It. And on the B-side, whose I Lost on Jeopardy, was released June 4th, 1984. So I think that's kind of interesting. It's not the original 45s for either one of those that came out, but what a great 45 to have, and it's in really good shape. So glad to have that one in the collection for sure. And then next up, we've got the master, Steve Martin, with Dentist from Little Shop of Horrors, the remake that Frank Oz did. It's a great film. Love that film. A whole bunch of people in that. Rick Moranis, John Candy. Really fun movie to watch. And this song is one of the highlights of the film, in my opinion. You notice it's the stereo side A at 312, noted as an edit. And on the back side of that, the label's not nearly in as good a shape. It's the exact same thing. It's still an A-side stereo 312 edit. So you just get into one song, but they put it on both sides. Which is nice, I guess, if you get a scratch or damage to one side. And then this, a lot of people might not consider this a comedy record, but I do. Devo, Whip It. Dun 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 dun. You must whip it good. Love that song by Devo. Wasn't a really big Devo fan, but I think a lot of people who weren't into Devo liked that song. That song and Working in a Coal Mine. Yeah. And then the B-side of this one I actually know really well too. Girl You Want. I know the later cover version of that. Can't remember if it was Soundgarden or Def Leppard that did the cover of it, but it's a good song. A real good song, especially for it to be a B-side. And moving on, we're definitely in the novelty records here. Jimmy Castor Bunch with Troglodyte, the Caveman. On the B-side of that one, we find I Promise to Remember. I don't remember. I remember Troglodyte, but I don't remember that song. And then this is a weird one. Ray Anthony doing the bunny hop. Some of you out there may remember it. I don't necessarily. It says originally released in April of '53, so this is clearly a reissue. And it's an old song, going back to '53. On the B-side of that, Same release date, 1953, the Hokey Pokey. Okay, I think we all sang that one as kids. And this one probably wasn't meant to be a comedy or a novelty record, but it is in my opinion. Convoy. It's a country and western song, country and western star. I actually even have the album of this. But it's cool to have the 45 because that's all I'd probably really want to listen to. And beside this, Long Lonesome Road. But I do like the song Convoy because it brings back memories and makes me laugh. Then here's one that I do not know. I'm not familiar with this, but sure would like to listen to it. Truck Driving Cat with 9 Wives. Not lives, but wives, by Jim Nesbitt. Yeah, that sounds interesting. And what's the B-side to that? Social Security. And that kind of rings a bit of a bell. I may actually know that song. May have to throw it on the turntable. I don't have a jukebox. I wish I did. I'd love to have a jukebox, but I do have a very nice turntable, so I can listen to these. Here's a great one, Kong. I also have Mr. Jaws somewhere, but it wasn't in this box. But somewhere I do have Mr. Jaws and Disco Duck and a number of other great novelty records. But this is a funny one too. And the B-side to that, Ed's Tune, another one that I'm not familiar with. But Shock Records, what a great logo they had there, huh? I like that. That is pretty cool. And so this is a really good one to find in the box next to the Mr. Kong. Or I said Mr. Kong, but it's just Kong. 20th Century Fox Records putting out the theme from King Kong. Of course, that would have been the 76 remake of King Kong, not the original. And it says Part 1, and the B-side is Part 2 of the theme. So, yep. I've got some of this other soundtrack ones like Star Wars. It had the Cantina Band on the back side of it. And this, I'm not sure. I have to look into this one, but this one might be an original of Dave Seville and the Chipmunks, Alvin's Harmonica. And on the B side of that one, we find a song called Mediocre, which I'm not familiar with. So, moving on. I want to scoot this over a little bit because the light's kind of catching there, causing us some glare that we don't need. We've got the new Christy Minstrels doing Chim Chim Cheree from Mary Poppins. Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney. And the B-side of that, They Gotta Quit Kicking My Dog Around. That sounds like an interesting song to listen to from an album called Cowboys and Indians. Very interesting. Next up, this is a country song, but I find it comical. I Like Beer. Makes him a jolly good fellow. Mr. Tom T. Hall from 1975. I can remember my dad laughing at this song in a cafe. Back when they had the little mini jukeboxes on the tables. You could flip through and pick a song. Some of you probably remember that. And the backside of that, Faster Horses, the Cowboy and the Poet. Not a clue. But if I was going to put this on and listen to I Like Beer, I'd definitely flip it over and give this one a chance. Alright, so moving on. Apparently this Cheryl girl really didn't want nobody taking her 45s because she signed her name all over it, front and back. But A. Bachman and Goodman production with Paul Sherman, Santa and the Satellite. They got Part 1, and the B-side, of course, is Part 2. And while the disc has got a nasty little chip out of it, fortunately, it had 3 rings before it started. And so it's still playable. It plays just fine. But that is a pretty nasty chip somebody took out of that one. So we've got some more here, but we're at our 10-minute mark, so we'll have to save them for Part 9.